I started off, first of all, by deciding I was going to be using a primer, which is recommended in most cases. Ensure that the primer you use is compatible or provided by the same manufacturer, specifically for the acrylic paint you're planning to spray. I then thinned that primer 10 to 1. So 10 parts of primer and 1 part of tap water. I'm going to simply stir this paint thoroughly. Then I'm going to put in, I'm going to say, let's do it about 300 milliliters of paint in there. So that means I have to add 30 milliliters of water after I've got this 300 milliliters in there. And I'm stirring it very, very carefully. You have to make sure that it is thoroughly stirred, because if it isn't, of course, you're going to run into problems. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to be putting it into my spray gun. And again, this is my T-Series 75G, a 2.0 milliliter needle nozzle and air cap set on it. The reason why I've done this is that I found that when I had it thinned 8 to 1, that the 1.8 worked fine. But I think that I'm going to go with just a slightly more viscous product, only thinning it down by 10%, and I think the 2.0 needle nozzle air cap set is going to work ideally. So here I am in the booth. I'm now adjusting my gun. In fact, I've just finished doing so. The way that I do it for spraying these acrylic paints is I turn my fluid completely off so that there's nothing on. I set the fan width to about 3/4 of the maximum height of the fan, because the piece that I'm going to be spraying, and you can see it over there, isn't really that large of a panel, so I don't need to have it like full width. After I've done that, then what I'll do is I'll normally, for this particular product, I'll open it 1 full turn. So that's 1 full rotation of this fluid knob counterclockwise after it's all the way in. So I've taken it out 1, and then I did a little test spray, and that wasn't enough fluid. So then I went and opened it up another half, and then that was maybe a little bit too much. I think, in fact, I opened it 2, and then I opened it just 1. And there you can see the droplets on the outside are very, very, very fine. The shape of the oval is nice and symmetrical, and that's exactly what you're looking for. If you have large spackles on the outside, that means that the paint is not being atomized properly, and that means that the fluid comes out the middle of the gun, and the enveloping air is not adequate to break it into small, small particles. So if that's the case, you have to decrease your fluid. And that's how I set my gun up for this particular product. So then after I did that, I had ensured that the substrate that I'm going to be spraying was properly prepared. And I sanded it down to 180 grit. That's P180.